Welcome to Your Health. I'm your host, Rhonda Alfred, and joining us on this episode is Percy Mosely, Director of Protective Services at Terrebonne General Health System. Today, we will be discussing the importance of being prepared if there were a hurricane to arise. Thanks for joining us, Percy.
Thank you.
All right, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at Terrebonne General and Region 3.
Okay, I'm Percy, Director of Security and Safety here at the hospital. My role here at the hospital is to, I have approximately 18 staff members on duty at all times. Have to make sure these guys are up to date, and there's training as well as, and we train for emergency management stuff. We have to make sure the hospital is safe at all times. We have to make sure that the hospital is safe daily for everybody that's in and out of the hospital daily. When it comes down to hurricane preparedness, we start preparing early for that. I mean, we have to prepare for the hurricane. We have to make sure that the yard is clean, everything is prepared for all safety of the hospital.
Okay, big job. Somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody got to do it.
All right, so when does hurricane season begin and when does it end?
Hurricane season starts June 1, okay, and over November 31st, 30 or 31st, whatever it is. But just keep in mind, there's no calendars on the water. I mean, there's nothing out there. We can have a hurricane in January. We can have a hurricane in March. It's just that hurricane season is June 1 to November 30. 31st.
Okay, and when should you start preparing and what
You
should you
should
do?
start preparing for hurricane season in January. Okay, January you should start preparing and getting things in place, as well as we do here at the hospital. We plan year-round for hurricane season because every day is a new day. So we have to make sure we have everything in place, everything around us. We have to have equipment in place. We have to make sure that we have supplies. Come June 1 is too late, okay, to start planning. June 1, we should have everything in place and ready to move on for a hurricane on June 2nd.
Okay, and how does Terrebonne General prepare?
We start preparing, like I said a minute ago. We prepare year round. Okay, we meet annual or quarterly. Sometime at this time we start meeting monthly, and we start preparing for getting our equipment, making sure we have supplies on hand, making sure we have. And our supply consists of a lot: water, sand, plywood, stuff to block off the windows. We have to have sand for our employees that need to secure their home with sandbags and everything like that. So all that is in place come June when we have that on the ground. Food
Okay.
supplies and everything like that.
So just give us an idea. How many days worth of supplies do you
We
have?
should, it calls for it to be supplied for 96 hours, okay? But we plan for 14 days, okay? And we have supplies on hand for 14 days. Usually what would happen here is, with our fuel diesel, if we have to go in generator power, our diesel can run for 96 hours. We can run for hospital. But within 72 hours, usually things are breaking and we can get equipment in by that time. But we plan like for food and water and all that stuff. That's a 14-day supply that we have on hand at all times.
Okay, and I know there's lots of collaboration that goes on. Who do we collaborate with before and after storms?
What happens here, I start conference calls with the state and the EOC area. We start planning for this. We start conference call about 120 hours out sometime. Okay, in some cases, we start planning, we get on conference calls, we start talking about this storm 20 hours out. Now, mind you, at 120 hours out, landfall, it's sunny. It's just like it is today. People home barbecuing and doing whatever they're doing, okay? But the thing here is when the hurricane get here, it's here. So unlike Ida, it was like 48 hours planning, and so getting stuff in place, okay? So we have to be ready at all times. Our conference call consists of the state, DHH, and all these guys, and get stuff in place. If we have to evacuate our patients, okay, that's the calls coming in through the state and our at-risk registry. When we see a storm hitting the Gulf or whatever, we start discharging early, okay? As many people we can get out the hospital, the better, okay? So if we have to evacuate, the first people we want to evacuate out is our babies, okay? We want to get our babies out of harm's way and get them out of here as early as possible. Then it come down where we get with clinical, and we meet with clinical, and then we start moving from the critical patients on down to the more ambulatory patients. Terrebonne General is not a shelter. It's not an emergency shelter by no means. Well, the thing here is, we have to prepare for what we have in-house already. Okay, we can't afford to take anyone in. And that's why we ask for everybody to get out of harm's way before it hit home. Okay, before the storm get here, they should be making plans now. Okay, they should be making plans for out-of-town hotels or whatever to get out. A lot of people want to wait till the last minute. Okay, and of course, we are not a shelter because everybody that's in this hospital we have to account for at all times. So we don't want to become a rescue. Okay, if we have to come a rescue, we have to be in place and know exactly who's in-house and where they're located in the hospital. Our employees that we have here at the time on staff, we know where everybody's located in the hospital. If they become a rescue, we know where they go and look. If we have people in here we don't know where they're at, we don't know where to look. And we don't want to be looking for someone later on as a rescue.
Right. So what's the most important takeaway you want our viewers to know?
The biggest thing here is to start planning now, okay? Get with your families. The thing here is plan your travel, plan your route now. Know where you're going. And if you're going out of town to meet family or whatever, let your family know your direction of travel, okay? Let them know which way you're coming. That way, if you're not there at a certain time, they can check on you, okay? Always keep in touch with someone. Keep your cell phones charged. Get your prescriptions together now and have everything ready to go.
Okay. Well, thank you for those helpful tips.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.
For more information on how to prepare for hurricane season, visit chighealthsystem.com. Thanks for watching To Your Health. I'm your host, Rhonda Alford, and I'll see you right back here next week.